Good morning. I'm Evan Duveneau, a 13-year-old member of this church. War never changes. On Saturday the 3rd, I came up to church and interviewed a veteran named Schwab Major. Schwab was 18 years old when he joined the Army to serve our country. Schwab served in combat in World War II between 1942 and 1945. He was shot in the leg and in the hospital for 6 weeks. Then he was sent right back into combat. Now he is an interesting man with plenty of stories to tell, and all of them were important, but one of them really got to me. Schwab was patrolling a village with another soldier when they captured 2 German soldiers. A sharpshooter's round hit the ground near them. All the men jumped into the nearest ditch, which was barely deep enough to protect them. When Schwab looked around to see if everyone had made it, he was face to face with another one of the German soldiers. After Schwab shared the story, I tried to imagine the gravity of the situation. His life could have almost been taken a moment ago, and now he was staring straight into the eyes of a man sworn to kill him and his fellow soldiers. And he could see the German soldier was just as scared as he was. It put a human face on the war for Schwab. Schwab says the war brings you to a numbness. You still feel fear and sadness, but you learn to cope with it and block it out. He's seen men die. He's seen corpses burned, decapitated, and almost all other mutilations. He was there at the liberation of Mauthausen, the greatest concentration camp of all of Europe. He said it was the most terrifying thing he'd seen, and also the thing he was most proud of liberating. It was, as a human, what he was fighting for. For a soldier, Schwab says, the war only ends when the soldier dies. This theme runs through the earliest Greek poets and philosophers to this very day. After coming home, Schwab attended school in Wichita, and his physics classroom was near an airstrip. For this first couple of weeks, he would take cover underneath a desk whenever a plane was landing. Although war brings death and destruction, it also brings out some good in people, in my opinion, such as a nation uniting and learning to depend on one another. We learn from our mistakes, such as Hiroshima and the concentration camps. But don't get me wrong, war is a terrible thing, because war never changes. Schwab has lived an honorable life, and we can be proud of his courage in serving our country and his courage of living the rest of his life with integrity and with honor. Amen.
First, thank you from all of us to all of you. It means a lot. In a little while, they're going to sing a song for the unknown hero. I'd like to remind you that for those of us who are in the middle of it, our real heroes were the medics and the corpsmen. They gave their lives, they went where they were needed, and they never hesitated. Wars are initiated by political and spiritual leaders with grandiose opposing ideologies. The wars are fought by young soldiers on each side, trying to kill young soldiers on the other side, and trying to keep themselves from being killed and maimed. This kind of existence plays tricks on the brain and makes it difficult to cope with peaceful life after the fighting has ceased. So how does a combat soldier recover his humanity? This takes a courage even deeper than the courage required to do the job in combat. For me, the answer was to immerse myself in college and graduate school to become a physicist and to become a professor doing teaching and research. One of my more poignant experiences as a professor was to work with Vietnam veterans, helping them to readjust to life as peaceful civilians. Part of the oath taken by a soldier as he is inducted into active duty is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. I can't speak for all veterans, but that part of the oath has become a part of me. As a consequence, I did more than merely vote. I spent 12 years deeply involved in local and state politics as a campaign manager and consultant. I was able to put my physics background to use to give accurate analyses of socioeconomic and political data. And in the process, I worked hard and smart to maintain my integrity. But there comes a time when the Bobby says it's time to quit and pass the torch to a younger generation. My hope for every generation is that they have the courage to tackle the challenges that life throws at them, and that they handle these challenges with integrity, and never forget that being human is the highest calling